Italian Wine Podcast. Chin Chin with Italian wine people.
Welcome to another On the Road edition hosted by Stevie Kim. Join us as we kick off a new 7-part series with our fantastic partner, Maze Row Wine Merchant. This new series of interviews will be live on Clubhouse and replayed on the Italian Wine Podcast through to April 16. We are proud to present this series of interviews diving deep into the heritage and legacy of Maze Row's excellent Italian producers. Tune into the Italian Wine Podcast every Saturday as we take an intimate look at the highly esteemed historic producers and their role as part of the Maze Row family of luxury wines. So let's get to the show as Stevie continues her stay in Montalcino with Bernardino Sani of Argiano. Join her on her visit to the winery to talk about the incredible state and taste the wines.
So I'm afraid to ask you, but there is actually another Brunello.
There is.
Why is there a need for yet another Brunello?
So the idea behind the Vigna del Suolo was to create something...
Which is where we've just been, right?
Yes. Was to create something that really, and in a straight way, speak you about Argiano. So when we thought about what Argiano is, we thought about history, because this place is full of history. We thought about elegance, because the symmetry and the beauty of the Renaissance style is an elegant way of doing things. And we thought about a specific terroir. We have a special soil composition. We are in a different position than other vineyards. What was the wine that could tell you about this? The Vigna del Suolo. Because the Vigna del Suolo is the most ancient vineyards that we have.
So this is your the most prestigious wine, right?
It won, was the best wine for Gambero Rosso Guide in this year. So
this
it was the
year.
best red of 2022 Gambero Guide, and it's a very specific parcel. It's made out of vineyards of 65 years old, specific clones. All vines, specific clones of Sangiovese. It tells you about history because it's the oldest vineyard. It's the most elegant expression of Sangiovese, so it tells you about the elegance of Brunello of Argiano, and tells you about a specific terroir because Vigna del Suolo has the soil composition that you don't find anywhere else.
What about the winemaking?
So
the different terms of...
fermentation is happening in cement tanks and the
So
aging,
this is cement tank?
Yeah.
Not the eggs?
The one that you saw, they have a egg shape almost, yes. And then the aging is in barrel, egg shaped that you saw over there.
Okay.
So the Taranto.
So what about the terms of the volume? How many?
It's 5,000 bottles.
Oh, so it's...
Yeah, it's a small parcel. We don't use it completely because we use it still in the blend of Brunello di Montalcino. The vineyard is 4 hectares. What we use for Vigna del Suolo is just a selection of grapes, and we use the rest in the Brunello di Montalcino. We could do technically 20,000 bottles of Brunello del Suolo.
When did you start? What was
15.
15 was the first
Yeah,
vintage.
this is the second vintage.
So you've started it with the great vintage, 15-16, so...
Indeed, we could have been starting from the 14, but we wanted to use a big vintage for launching the Vigna del Suolo, and we started with the 15.
And what is the difference in terms of on the palate? What is the...
What I feel it's a more complexity in the nose, so it goes from the fruit to some floral notes, and there's some spices behind, but not too much. No leather notes. Here is very straight.
Yeah, there's no leather.
And what I love in the mouth is the saltiness of the wine. It's very soury. It's almost salty, and this made it another great food pairing wine. The acidity is high, the longevity is great in this wine, the balance and the tannins, there's a lot of tannins, but they're very silky, very nice, soft feeling in the mouth.
But it's a tannic baga, this one.
Yeah.
So let's review the prices, because I'm very practical, especially for the American market. Argiano, 25-35 retail price. I'm talking about. Okay,
Right.
not at restaurants. Brunello, of course, you're top of the line. When you're making 5,000 bottles, I mean, how does the allocation work?
No, we just give to specific clients
So
based on the notoriety of the clients, on this.
It's almost like a
restaurant is
club.
Michelin yes,
It's
and
almost
the
based on,
collectors.
like the Napa club, wine clubs.
Right. So it goes in some specific Michelin star restaurant and some collector portfolio.
So special allocation.
Special allocation, yes. But anyway, this is in US should be above 200 euros for bottle. This is from 60 to 100 euros, and the Rosso di Montepulciano.
Don't worry, if you get it wrong, you can't get fired because you're the boss.
No, it's me. No, I don't know. I don't make the price in United States, but and then there should be around 25-30 euros for the Rosso di Montalcino.
Listen, so no white.
No,
Will there be whites in the future?
no, it's not a great area for whites here.
I know.
I don't think we can make any special whites. This is why we don't do it. Maybe we could do a Vinsanto, or we could do some nice Moscadello, but sweet wines. So, but white wines, there's no. I don't think the specific terroir is good for white.
Okay. All right. So we have two more wines. I love
Yeah.
this wine, by the way. We have two more wines, and they're, we can say, super Tuscan,
Absolutely yes.
because it's a Bordelais blend, right?
It's a Bordelais wine, and the history. The Argiano is in Montalcino. Montalcino, it's all about Sangiovese. 90% of producers do Sangiovese
Yeah,
only.
of course.
Argiano in the 90s had a consultant winemaker that was Giacomo Takis, the father of all the super Tuscan wine. He went to work for Antinori, started the production of Tignanello, then he made Solaia, then he worked for Sassicaia. He came to Argiano, and in 95 he started to make the Solegno. Solegno, it's a blend of Cabernet Sauvignon, 50%, with Merlot, Petit Verdot, and Sangiovese. More or less is 20% Merlot, 25% of Petit Verdot, so it's a big powerful wine, and 5% of Sangiovese. Some years later, after the Solegno creation, they started to make the non-confunditor, the NC, that followed the Solegno. It's like the Rosso for the Brunello. It's similar to Solegno in terms of blend, because it's Cabernet, Merlot, and Sangiovese, but much more fresh, fruity, lighter aging, maybe less full body, less complexity. Very nice food pairing wine also here.
Which one are we drinking first?
We're drinking first the NC 2019.
So this is Merlot, Cab, and Sangiovese.
Yeah.
What are in the percentage of the blend?
Cabernet is 50%, Merlot is around 30%, and 20% is Sangiovese.
20% on this one.
It's very fresh, very fruity.
Yeah.
Very fruity.
Yeah.
Red fruit, a lot of red fruit.
And this is a vintage?
19.
19.
Yeah.
How is the 19 vintage?
Extremely good. For both Sangiovese and Cabernet and Merlot, for all of them was extremely good. Extremely rich vintage, but not too warm. We had a difference of times between night and days. We had complexity, good production, so it was extremely good vintage.
Incredibly fruity.
This is very good price for value since your entry. This goes, sometimes you can find even around $20 in the shelves.
Yeah, it's very good value then. And how many bottles do you produce of this?
We are around 10,000 cases of this, 120,000 bottles.
So I've noticed that you don't have the family stem here, right? On these two, because these are the blends.
Exactly. So the idea is that Argiano and the history is Brunello.
They all have the family stem, right?
Those are two brands that are almost separate from the history of Argiano, and we want to maintain this.
Okay. Let's taste.
Solegno.
Yep.
Also here is the 19. This is really just released now. So
You just released it.
just now.
And the blend here is?
Cabernet 50%, 30% Merlot, and around 15% of Petit Verdot and 5% of Sangiovese.
So basically, the main difference is the
With
Petit
Petit Verdot,
Verdot, and
yes.
very
And you know,
small percentage of Sangiovese.
Petit Verdot is high in concentration and makes this wine extremely powerful. Solegno, you know the name Solegno is the name the local hunters here call the wild boar. So the wild boar when is alone is called Solegno. The male wild boar when is alone is the big boy, and the reason is that this wine is powerful and is pretty much unique in the area. And indeed, it's a full body, complex, extremely long aging Bordeaux style wine. Vintage 19 was again very good as it was for the NC.
Much more tannic and
More
green.
full body, yeah.
Yeah. Much more peppery, green pepper.
Yeah, this is the Petit Verdot that
Yeah,
gives this peppery, spicy.
Yep.
Almost
Just with the
spicy.
small blend change,
They
two different
change
wines.
Completely. Yeah.
Completely different
Yeah,
wines.
you're right, because the grapes pretty much come
They're
from the same
similar,
area.
Except you have 15% of
yeah.
Petit Verdot.
And some old Sangiovese, so older Sangiovese means 2016 Sangiovese in the blend to give some more acidity, more push.
So listen, so this series, you're kicking off the series with Gallow and their luxury portfolio.
Right.
So there's something new. This is the first episode of a series that we're launching because there's going to be some breaking news.
Right.
What is the
right.
breaking news?
I cannot tell you, but
There will be a rebranding.
Everybody
Rob,
is super excited,
Right.
And they are, you know, Gallo family. They take care of every detail. They study the perfect way to transmit their passion about family of wines, about wines terroir, about wine quality, and so they are launching this new amazing project. I know it, but I cannot tell you.
Yes, secret. Okay, but for the viewers out there and our audience, on the 16th of March, they will be making this announcement. So stay tuned and follow us and subscribe so you can get that news directly from us. When did Argiano become part of the Gallo portfolio?
Good question.
In terms of distribution and
It was 2017.
so
2017.
so with the new owner, practically.
Right. Yeah, I took the decision. I loved the project, the Lux project, the portfolio of wine. They have the amazing Barolo from Ratti, Marilisa Amarone, and Piero Panzoave, Yerman. They put together an amazing portfolio. It looked like a very special way of being in United States market. So we joined them, and we have been working closer for the past, now it's almost 5 years. So we are very happy of this.
So we spoke a little bit about the Argiano history. Can you tell us a little bit more about the family stem? Because we saw it also on the.
It's in the cellar.
Yeah,
here
in the cellar.
Yeah, right. So first of all, why this? Because Argiano has been going through different owners. The one who started was the Pecci family, different from this. Then Cinzano family, then now Esteves family. So different owners. Why this family crust from the Gaetani Lovatelli family, because this family was the one who was very important for Argiano development, since they were the owners of Argiano at the times the Brunello started. So they started the production of Brunello, joining Biondisanti in this, and they started to use this label
from the very beginning.
From the very beginning. So it became pretty much an iconic label for Brunello. The Gaetani, that is the wave here, Papa Gaetani was mentioned by Dante Alighieri in the Divina Commedia. Bonifacio VIII was the name by Pope as Pope, and Lovatelli, that is the bird here, the white bird, D'Aragona.
It's a dove,
It's
right?
a dove, yes. And the D'Aragona, the eagle of Aragona. They were count, and so they have the crown.
So what I'm going to ask you now is kind of sum up, Argiano.
Right.
Especially for the people who are maybe less familiar or they've never heard of you.
Right.
What are kind of the 5 things that you want them to know? Like 5 must know about Argiano Winery and Argiano wines.
So
Number 1.
Number 1 is, I repeat myself, but it's history. There's not so much history in Montalcino as it is in Argiano.
Similar, yeah.
It is 500 years of winemaking, but more than that, the castle is really existing since the Middle Ages, and then transformed into this in the Renaissance time, and then went through so much history that history is a big thing.
Sometimes when you change hands in terms of ownership, sometimes there's a period when there's not a smooth transition, or there's a little bit of lost in translation, if you will, right?
Right.
So number 1, it has a very long history,
Right,
Argiano.
yes.
And maybe people are unaware. Number 2?
Number 2 is what I love of Montalcino in general, but is the fact that if you come to Argiano and you look around 360 degrees, you don't see anything new. It's the nature here is still untouched. The beauty of the nature is something unique. It was very isolated place and has remained untouched by human hand for so long that is still you breathe the same air that you could have been breathing 500 years ago.
Okay, and number 3?
Number 3, the wines, because we went through so many new projects in the past 8 years that were all dedicated to quality, starting from the vineyards and going on with the cellar, with the restoration of the cellar. It's all led by the fact of producing amazing terroir-driven wines. So if you want to feel taste some wines that tells you about terroir, tells you about history, tells you about what we are, you should come here and taste the new, especially the recent vintages of Argiano.
Okay. And then?
Then we are pretty proud of our sustainability projects. We have been the first.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about because are you completely organic, certified
we
organic?
are certified organic. Beside that, we are the first, we have been the first plastic-free winery in Montalcino, banning all the mono-usable plastic. We have been doing last year a carbon neutrality project that means that we presented a specific study that studied all our emissions and our capacity of absorbing them. And this count was positive for us because we are able to take back double what we produce in terms of carbonic gas and the gas responsible for global warming.
Okay, and lastly?
Last thing about Argiano, it's the people, because beside every winery we try to have good people, and beside every wine, but not only, we have a fabulous hospitality team that especially in the high season, in the good season, so from springtime to fall time, is able to host people in a very specific way that is distinct for every single customer. So you don't do a generic tasting, you tell us what you like, we organize something specifically for you. You stay here, you brief the history, you can visit everywhere, the cellar, you will be eating good food prepared by our
So there
chef.
is a restaurant?
There is a restaurant that use only local ingredients, only food from Tuscany, and you match pair and great food. It's a nice 360-degree experience in Argiano.
Listen, I would like for you to tell us a little bit about the hospitality here in terms of, you have also rooms here, right?
We do.
How many rooms do you have?
We have 11 rooms in total. So it's a boutique wine resort, and it's 3 apartments only that have been restored using the same materials of the villa. So during the renovation of the villa, we used what was the wood, like here, for making the old woods to make the tables, to make the furnitures, and the agriturismo is just in front of the winery, of the villa estate, has a nice pool and relax area, has the restaurant, has the possibility to do bikes tour, horse riding, and of course to brief is made for people who wants to not only to visit a special and beautiful place, but to learn something about wine. So it's very related to the wine production, wine tasting, and wine exploring.
I had this pleasure of staying in one of your rooms last night. Absolutely beautiful, and absolutely, I think it is very worthwhile to come and stay here, especially if you want to get away from the rat race, the rest of the world, because there's nothing around. It's very quiet. So I guess that is it. We can wrap it up. One last thing is the cellar where we are, because of course we had a short tour before. What was the philosophy? Who was the architect behind the planning of the cellar?
So it's a great question, and I love to ask. Why we started the renovation of the cellar? We started because it was not possible anymore to age wine in bad condition like it was. So we asked to Filippo Scheggi, local young architect from Siena, who have been working in the Vatican, so he's expert about restoration, to restore the place, making it completely great to age the wine, to store the bottles, but at the same time respecting completely what was the history, what was the soul of the place. So basically he started this huge restoration of the cellar, just cleaning everything, cleaning the walls, but leaving like it was, trying to bring it back to the gold ages. And the only amazing thing that he did is transforming, and that was very creative, I have to say. He's transforming the old well that is over there and was containing water, transforming it into a vertical cellar dedicated to the history of Brunello. So he put some circular stairs, and that goes from top to down, and it's like you enter really in the history. You enter and you feel this, and you feel the importance of the Brunello producers. It's not only Argiano, there are all the most important producers of Brunello di Montalcino who made the history of this terroir, show it there in the cellar, and we are proud of that.
Yeah, and by the way, it's not the cellar, not just Argiano. There is some serious private collection of French wines, and one area specifically of Yquem. Amazing. It is called the Golden
Collection. Yes.
Golden Collection. I've never seen anything like it in terms of the private collection. So, Bernardino, thank you so much for hosting.
Thank you.
And I have my Argiano.
Cheers.
Cheers, and chin chin with
Chin chin.
Italian wine people. And don't forget to tune in for the next episodes. That will be on Italian Wine Podcast. It will go live. It will be replayed after the Clubhouse editions. And there will be, of course, Brancaglia, Piero Pan, Allegrini, Ratti, who else?
Tornatore.
a Tornatore, new entry. You know, I love that family. The Mrs. Tornatore makes a mean vegetable dish, which I had the pleasure of eating.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. What is it? All the vegetable dish called?
Caponata, no?
Yeah, caponata. I think best caponata ever. So tune in. I don't think she'll be on because I don't think she speaks English, but tune in and follow us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. Mama Jumbo Shrimp. Ciao ragazzi.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Okay, cheers.
Cheers.
And that's a wrap for today. Thank you for joining us on our journey to Argiano Winery. We hope you enjoyed this episode brought to you by the Maze Row Wine Merchant Portfolio Series that focuses on excellence, family, legacy, sincerity, and innovation. To learn more about today's featured producer, see our show notes and visit their website, mazerow.com. Don't forget to subscribe and like our show. And tune in to the Italian Wine Podcast every Saturday through to April 16th for more intimate conversations with highly esteemed historic producers and their role as part of the Gallow family of luxury wines.